Okay. Hi, this is Marci Delaney, and I am doing a little series of interviews with some of our Columbia business people since we are completely shut down in most places. If they're not already, they will be very shortly. But my first interview today is Robbie Butt, and Robbie owns, what's the name of your business?
Marketing Performance.
Marketing Performance.
Yes, we are a full-service advertising agency.
So I hear what you said, but I know nothing about advertising. So tell me what advertising associates really means.
Well, I had an intern one time that looked over at me and goes, "What do we do here? People make ads. We make ads and we sell them to people." Like, yeah, that's exactly what we do.
So simple, right? Everybody can do it.
Exactly. So, and we do it for, we help businesses, with their advertising and public relations efforts, businesses of all sizes, really, honestly, all over the world. I've got clients in Europe, clients here in Colombia, clients elsewhere in the United States. So with the way that we are today, communicating like we're communicating right now, you can be anywhere in the world actually and help somebody.
Thank God for technology when it works.
That's right.
When it works, it doesn't always work so easy. I had no idea you were international, Robbie. That's very impressive to me.
Yeah, we've got, thank you. I've got 6 clients. Let's see, one in Sweden, one in France, one in Germany, 2 in the UK, and 1 in South Africa.
Really?
So, yeah. And
I've got
businesses.
What kind of businesses are they?
They're manufacturing businesses. I had my very first client when I started my business was an industrial manufacturer here actually in Columbia, South Carolina. The company manufactured, they manufacture like 89 parts on a postal vehicle. They make all of these parts that go on fire trucks and ambulances and heavy trucks. They sell to Volvo, PACCAR, Freightliner, Mack Truck, all of that. They were my very first client. And
that's really cool because there is a manufacturer for everything and everything needs to be advertised. So
right.
That's
right.
really, really cool. And of course, it gives you an inkling into other businesses that you'd never be exposed to.
Well, and so what I did is I just kind of worked my way up vertically to their vendors. And so, it's nothing like really super sexy. I mean, there's nothing sexy about climate control systems for buses and subways and things like that. But
I think there's a joke there. There's a joke there if we weren't doing this for public consumption, but that's kind of cool. So yeah. How old is your business?
25 years old this year.
Oh, wow. That's a milestone.
Well, I keep track of it by the age of my oldest son. He is now 29 and he was 24. He was 4 when I started it. So I was a single dad with 2 boys under the age of 6 that I was taking care of and decided to start my own business. I always got to do things the hard way.
There you go. There you go. Well, it's the hard way right now.
Well, you know what? Well, it is hard right now for everyone, but I think we all have things, Marci, every single day that we can be thankful for.
Amen.
And that we take the time to just look out our window at our yard, just think about the person that we're with, our family. We have things that we can be thankful for right now today, even though things are bad and things are terrible. It's ultimately it's all going to be okay. We just have to get to okay.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I saw something that I'm going to do on an Instagram post when we get off of here, and it's self-quarantine or home safe. So your choice how you look at that,
Yeah,
right?
how you wanna think about that. And
That's
and
right.
you know, I was sitting on my back deck this morning drinking coffee with my laptop working. It was a beautiful morning, and you know, just the temperature was just right and everything. And you just, you know, it's what you make of it and how you do it. You know,
In
we're all
everything.
gonna, we're right. We're gonna get, from a business standpoint, every business owner right now has two questions. Did I do everything I could beforehand to getting to this point? Did I hire the right people? Did I save the right amount of money? Do I have the right customers or clients? Have I built my business the right way up into this point? And then their second question is, am I going to make it through this? You know, am I going to do it? You know, are we going to get through this? And so everybody's asking themselves those questions right now.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Well, let's go back to marketing performance, your business. So can you think right here off the cuff of one of your most challenging clients and their request, or something that's really, really weird that you had to do in a advertising sense?
Well, okay, so there, you know, that's a funny question, because I could answer with a funny answer. You know, I could do a funny answer. I could do a really serious answer.
Hey,
So,
guess what? We have all day.
well, you know, God, 30 years ago, when I was the advertising director for Belk Department Store, we launched Giorgio Beverly Hills, the fragrance. And do you remember Giorgio Beverly
Of course I
Hills
do.
with the yellow and white stripes?
Of course I do, yeah.
Okay. Well, it was a big deal, and Giorgio was rolling out across the country, and every retailer was trying to outdo the next retailer on how they launched Giorgio. So Giorgio arrived at one store in an armored car. Giorgio, and this is the perfume now, we're talking about a box.
Yeah.
And Giorgio arrived at another store in a limousine, and everybody was all on this hype about how we're going to deliver Giorgio. And so I came up with the idea of having I don't know what you call them, a gaggle, I don't know, but parachutists, trick parachutists who jump out of a plane, do all these things in the air, you know, all of these acrobatic things, and do all this show. So I came up with having Giorgio delivered to Belk of Columbia by a team of parachutists. So we're standing out in the parking lot, and everything went great. They all landed in the parking lot exactly where they were supposed to. They had Giorgio in one of their things, and they delivered it to Miss South Carolina, who brought it into the store. But we were standing out there, and the plane's flying over, and my boss leans over to me, and he says, "Robbie, what happens if one of those parachutes doesn't open today?" And I looked back at him. I said, "Phil, I can promise you that we will be on the cover of every newspaper in the world tomorrow."
That is true. And that is flipping that into a positive, no doubt.
Yeah. So
That's really cool.
And the thing that I always wanted to do with them but never got to do, well, I wanted to like put numbers on like 10,000 ping pong balls and drop them into the parking lot off the building, and I can just visually see all of those ping pong balls going crazy, and people running to get them, and they would have discounts on them for discounts in the store and stuff. They would never let me drop 10,000 ping pong balls off the roof of the building. We're going to have none of that. So
I can kind of imagine that. That's
I
a
never,
very creative idea, though.
I never got to do it.
That's crazy. So you were director at Belk for how long?
For 4 or 5 years, and that was in the 80s, because
Yeah.
it was during Belk's 100th anniversary.
Yeah.
So that was 1988, because we had to do a bunch of stuff for that as well. But so that was back in the mid to late 80s that I was there, and that was really right when I got out of school almost. So I went to Carolina and graduated in the early 80s. And
Is
so,
your degree in advertising, marketing?
yes, it is. Yeah, my degree is technically in journalism, and
Down
but
at Coliseum.
I've always specialized in advertising and public relations.
Cool.
So,
Cool.
yeah.
So, are you still teaching at USC?
No, I gave that up. 24 years was enough for me. I think it was fall, not this past fall, but fall a year ago.
You missed it at all?
No, I sure don't.
Well, Robbie, if you could do anything else in your life and there's absolutely no limits, what would you be doing besides advertising performance?
I would be a millionaire beach bum sitting on an island somewhere right now.
That's
drinking.
cool. You know, that makes me think about this. Remember, there's all these things that go around on the internet all the time. So if you were on a deserted island somewhere, what are the top 3 things you would bring? Or if you were on a deserted island, who would you want to be deserted on the island with? This kind of is that right now, right?
Yeah,
But
you're right.
What a great place to be quarantined. I know your house and it's lovely, and that's a nice place to be quarantined, right?
Well, it really is. And, you know, the good news is I live 2 blocks from Morganelli's. So if I have to walk to get a bottle of liquor, I can do that.
There you go.
You know, I've got to have those staples, and I'm covered on toilet paper and paper towels. So we got to go for the luxury items.
So and I need TP, I know where to come. I actually realized that I only had 1 bottle of red wine left. I have plenty of white. You know, red is my favorite. So I actually stopped and bought 3 bottles, but you know, that's not enough. That's not enough.
You should have bought 3 cases.
I should have brought 3 cases, but unfortunately I was at Food Lion. The portions were slim. So you have 2 boys, and you live in your precious little house that you've been in for how long now?
It's just over 3 years.
Yeah. Are you finished with the renovations there?
I am, because I didn't really do anything to this house on the inside. When I bought the house, it had already been done. So I didn't have to do any, you know, I love to tear a wall down and stuff like that, but I didn't have to do anything to this house. It was already done. So the money that I had saved up when I was looking at houses, I had put money aside for renovations. And because I didn't need to do anything on the inside, I spent it all on the outside, you know, and
well spent. It is just great.
Well, thank you. I live on a very busy corner that people go by every day, and they look at my house, and even people I haven't talked to in 10 years that I'll run into somewhere and they'll go, "Oh, I love your house. Oh, your house is so cute," or something. I'm like, how the heck do you know where I live? But so I spent it and had my whole yard, all my landscaping redone, and had all that redone. And I was telling somebody this morning, I said, you know, it's just very satisfying to look at a nice, neat, clean yard. It just makes me feel good.
And one other thing I want to bring up, because you and I have talked about this before, and you were never a dog lover.
Well, I had never had a dog. It's not that I didn't love them. I just never had one growing up. And you know, my grandparents raised me, and you know, they were in their mid-40s when they got a 5 or 6 year old full time, and I figured I was always enough for them to handle. That
probably knowing you now, I think that's probably true.
Right. My grandmother did not want me bringing a dog into the house, so I just never had one. It was just something we didn't have. And so, you know, 3 years ago when I bought this house, I was thinking, you know, I might be ready for a dog. I might want to try a dog out. And then so suddenly, you know, when you tell people that, then you are inundated with pictures of dogs. People are texting you on Facebook. They're tagging me with all of these dogs. And I'm just like, oh my God, I wish I'd never said anything. And then a friend of mine texted me with this little Chihuahua who was in a dog pound in Rowan County, North Carolina, which is on the other side of Charlotte. And when I saw that picture, I just instantly was like, oh, that's the one. I've got to get him.
Happens. It happens.
and they had a very persuasive adoption policy up there. You know, they put the date that the dog becomes available, and then they put the date they're putting the dog down if nobody gets him. So it's very, you know, I was like, oh. So I filled out all the paperwork online and went up and picked him up, and he's somewhere around here asleep right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, you need to get him. We can actually get introduced to him.
He's super precious. I don't know where he is. He's under a blanket sleeping. I'm not going to bother him. He's not getting all of his, he has been sleeping soundly all night long, and even doesn't want to get up out of the bed in the mornings. When I get up, he stays in the bed under the cover. And I was thinking yesterday, I said, you know, that's because with me home all this time, he's not getting all the sleep that he gets during the day, because I'm constantly up moving around. He's watching me, following me around. And so he's not getting all of his normal rest that he's used to. And so while he's asleep in there, I'm going to leave him alone.
That's fine. So
where is Dean Martin?
Well, Lana Turner and Dean Martin cannot be in here while I'm working. My office is in my bedroom, and they're huge, and they're not like a little tiny lap dog. So yeah, I just can't have them back here.
Because, you know, that's my other funny dog. The very first time I took Bo to Four Paws Animal Clinic, I'm sitting in the waiting room, and the receptionist is on the phone going, yes, ma'am, blah, 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 blah. Well, we will see Dean Martin tomorrow. And I laughed, and I just sat there and thought to myself, somebody has named their dog Dean Martin. And then it turned out to be you.
I've never heard that story. Isn't that wonderful?
Small world.
It is a small world, and it really does suit him. He's just very laid back. He's very chill. If he could snap his fingers, he would be doing it, and he would really look good in a fedora. And Lana Turner, you know, the real Lana Turner was a blonde,
right?
And my Lana Turner is almost all black, but you know, she's a diva, so it suits. So last question, Robbie, and so this is a little bit more about what we're going through right now with our homebound jobs that we're doing. So things have changed a lot for all of us. Do you have any tips that you want to share on how you're coping with it, or are you doing anything maybe that you didn't think you would be doing? Well, of course, that's not a good question, because nobody thought they would be doing this, but tips that you're doing to handle it emotionally, mentally, physically.
Well, I think that besides drinking too much, no, I'm just kidding. You know, last week, this is week number 2 of this. And so the first week was just crazy. Everybody was crazy. Nobody knew what was going on. You know, I spent a lot of time self-talking to myself because, you know, it was, 2009, 2010 with the recession. You know, that was a terrible time. I was
By the way, that's the year I started my business. You talk about crazy.
Well, that's the year that I came about 99% going out of business. And, you know, I just wasn't ready for it. I had not prepared for it. I didn't see it coming. And on top of that, about 70% of my clients were real estate related. So all that business just vanished overnight. And it was terrible. This time I was ready for it. I mean, I've been ready for it. I put money aside. I've kind of planned for a rainy day. And so I had to really just kind of self-talk myself a lot like, Robbie, it's okay. I mean, I even had to put a budget together. I even took a spreadsheet, put a budget together. You know, what is it going to cost me to keep paying my digital manager, my 2 graphic designers, my webmaster, you know, meet all of my household expenses. And then what do I have set aside to cover all this? And how long is it going to go? And, you know, I haven't put a budget together in probably 20 years, Marci, just put numbers down like that, you know, because I just haven't had to. But I felt like that made me feel a lot better, because now, you know, I know, and I've gone back and adjusted it, because as I talk to my clients and they're in bad ways and in bad positions, you know, at a time like this, it's about the relationship.
That's right.
And so I have been fortunate enough to be able to go to my, especially my restaurant clients, and say, look,
Right.
we're going to get, here's what I'm going to bill you at the beginning of April, because here's what I have to bill you for, but I'm not going to bill you for all of this or this, that, and just try to help them get through it all. And so, you need to remember the people, remember everybody else that's involved. And if you spend time helping other people, then you don't think about yourself. And at the end of the day, you've done something good. I don't know.
No, that's beautifully said, because we are all in this together. And, we never know when we're going to need help. Personally, I know I actually do right now. This is a very tough time because there's not a thing I can do in my business except try to stay connected. But this is, and I think maybe seeing these sort of videos might be helpful to other people in business, maybe give a little bit of encouragement to know that we're all experiencing the same thing. And even though we know it, it's a little bit different when you hear it from people that you do have relationships with. So, I just really think the world of you. I think the world of your business, and I'm just glad to have you as now part of my life. And the CEO has been very helpful to me. Maybe you might want to speak to that for just a minute before we conclude.
Well, I will say this, that there were two things that I did in 2010 when my business was tanking, and I didn't know, I'm not embarrassed to say that I had a prescription to pick up at Walgreens, and it was $100, and I didn't have $100 to go pick it up. So I had to wait until a client paid me to have the money to go do that. So that's how dire things were at that time. And I did two things that really, really helped my business. The first thing is I joined CEOA. So it's a great group of people. I've never regretted one day being in that group. Lauren Schluter, that owns Carolina Cafe, leaned over to me one morning and she said, Robbie, it's going to take about a year before anybody trusts you and works with you because they want to get to know you. And she said, but it'll happen. Just hang in there and tough it out. And I did. And it did, the business just started coming along. And frankly, and I've said it before, so it's no secret that between the business in that group and my referrals that I've gotten from that group, I bill about $1 million a year because of that group. Just that piece of my business is because of CEO.
Relationships and networking.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the second thing I did is I hired a sales coach. So that was the other thing I did. But the CEOA is has been a lifesaver. And they can do, and it's just all about those relationships. I kind of miss everybody when we're not together on Wednesday mornings and that kind of a thing. But we'll be back.
We will be back. And maybe that sales coach is somebody that you could bring into the CEOA.
Well, I have actually offered to do that. I don't know if you know him, Walker McKay. Do you know Walker?
I follow him online.
Yep. I hired Walker when he was at Sandler, and that just totally changed the way I did business. 180 degrees and made everything so much easier and just so much better. And Walker was really, really instrumental in helping me get myself back together again.
I read his posts on LinkedIn all the time. He'd be a great asset to our group.
He would be. I'll re-invite.
Maybe we'll work on that again. Well, thank you for giving me a little bit of your time. I hope you feel like it wasn't a waste of time.
No, I don't at all. And I can't wait for Spa 131 to open back up. I need a massage. And
we need you. So we're just going to conclude with that. And ciao, my friend.
Thanks, Marci.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.